This year I have to miss what is normally one of the highlights of my audiophile year. For all of you who have been there, I hope the images in this video will give you a little bit of that feeling, and for those of you who have never been there, I want to explain what it is and why I love to go there. Okay, so let's start with a little bit of a backstory. When I grew up, slowly becoming an audiophile, there was no internet. So in order to get your audiophile fix, you had to go to hi-fi dealers, audio demonstrations, and reading the hi-fi magazines that were out there. Now in those days I preferred the German magazines over the Dutch ones. The Dutch magazines always were more like just big advertisement articles instead of informative reviews. Now in the German magazines, every year I read about this wonderful audio show in Munich, the biggest one of them all, and the magazine was filled with pictures from that show, and it showed you the most crazy setups and most expensive gear. Now I was too young to go on such an adventure, and in my mind Munich was so far away. Only on a holiday would you go that far. Now I am talking 1980, something like that. It is that long ago that I wanted to go to that show. But then life just goes on and you do other things. And finally in 2013 I went to the Munich show for the very first time and I immediately was hooked. In the beginning I went once every 2 years because it's also expensive. But then I went every year because I liked it, and at first I went only 2 days, but I soon discovered that this show is so incredibly big that I could not get around seeing and enjoying everything in just 2 days, so now I go all 3 days. And still, when I come back and look at the pictures or YouTube videos that people post about the show, still I see things that I missed. It is that big. Throughout the years the show has become bigger and bigger, and also some other shows appeared, profiting from the success of the big show. At the height of that period there were 3 side shows, one high-end, one for horns and tubes, and one for DIY. Now this may have been a problem for the management of the original show, I don't know, but for me it was heaven. So what is there to see? Well, there is one big hall where people can just display their goods, and this is like a marketplace. Many of those vendors will also hire a little acoustic booth where they can show you their system and play it for you. Also, throughout the day there are live music performances, some on a specific place, but some just wander around while playing. Then there is one booth where they have presentations and lectures on all kind of topics like loudspeaker placement or clean power. At first I went there a lot, but for me it became just too much of a spot for companies to advertise their good. Which is okay of course, but it was not what I wanted. And lastly, there were some big conference rooms that were used for big systems or big demonstrations. For example, there could be a demonstration from a studio that makes surround sound music, and they will have some of their studio equipment and a full surround sound setup. Okay, so this all is enough to fill 1 or 2 days, but this was just one floor. There are 2 more floors and of course the other shows I talked about. On to the second floor. That has a lot of big rooms for some of the more familiar brands like Marantz. And they would display their complete range of equipment, and some of them will also play some music or have little demonstrations every hour. Then on the same floor there are a lot of rooms where they display and play single systems. These rooms are more set up as a serious listening room. Now the rooms are not ideal, and especially bass will get through from the other rooms, but hey, you do get to experience a lot of different systems. And there may be about 25 of these rooms just on this floor, not even counting the display rooms from the bigger brands as I just mentioned. Also, throughout the days there will be dedicated workshops. For example, a lot of comparisons between cables, DA converters or loudspeakers. Very interesting. My guess is that when you have been to a modest audio show in your neighborhood and had a wonderful day there, I'm sure this one floor is even bigger than that. And then there is even a third floor. These consists of somewhat bigger rooms than the ones on the second floor, and mostly this is where the expensive stuff is. These are the rooms that may have systems exceeding a price tag of $1 million, so that is another 15 or 20 rooms. I can't remember exactly. And if that is not enough, you can visit the other hi-fi shows, and I always did. They were open until 8 o'clock on Saturday. The high-end show closes at, I believe it was 5 o'clock. So this was perfect if you want to be in these heavenly surroundings from 10 o'clock in the morning until 8 o'clock in the evening. I hope you get the idea why I can spend 3 days over there without getting bored. Now I can go on for another hour telling you guys why I like this show so much, but I will leave you with this. One of the reasons I made this video is for myself, to get a little bit of that feeling that I have to miss this year. This show has given me so much in interesting conversations with many of the big names in the audio industry. It gave me the opportunity to see and hear some of the audiophile classics that were impossible to hear in any other way, and it gave me so much joy and knowledge about all the audiophile things that are happening out there. So this year I have to miss it, but next year I will definitely go there again. Now I hope you liked this little video. I thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.